in this scenario, Sarah and I are teammates. I'm the setter, like
Okay.
for the last 25 years of my life.
Yep.
Sarah is an outside hitter with a heavy arm and
the best outside hitter. The best.
All right. And we're playing just a normal game. And, you know, Sarah, what are you seeing out there?
All right. Well, boy, oh boy. I'm just not on my game. You know, I'm hitting out. I'm hitting in the net. I'm mad at my setter because my setter needs to change her set, their sets, to make me look better. So, boy, I hit in the net. I'm going to go over to my setter and say, hey, I need you to get that set higher. Hey, I need you to get that set tighter. Hey, let's say I'm hitting in the net and my setter doesn't set me for a while, or I'm making errors and my setter doesn't set me. I'm going to get mad at my setter and I'm going to tell my setter, I'm the best hitter on the team. You better start setting me, Sharky.
Oh, well, Sarah, your passes need to be better. And I can't get you the ball every time. You know, there's other girls on the team that I think need to get set more than you. So you can't talk to me like that, or I don't know what somebody would say in that situation.
That's too bad. I was brought on this team,
right?
I'm a 6 rotation player.
And that's going to be followed by a lot of negative body language. And my favorite, the eye roll.
Or I may, if that set is not perfect, I am going to just lob it over, or I am going to just make an error just because it's your fault, not mine.
Mark, we're having team issues here. Some team
you sure are.
And there's just a lot of negativity between Sarah and I. What do we do to combat this and prevent it at the front door?
All in the midst of a timeout or immediacy on the court, huh?
Yeah, you got 30 seconds.
As a coach, you should. I think as a coach, you are going to probably be pretty good at recognizing the negative body language and the tensions that exist. And as a coach, I think it's your call to make on whether that toxicity of 1/3 of your team that's on the court is too much to try and overcome immediately. So if I were coaching, I would probably pull both of those kids out at my earliest ability to do so. And I would spend some time doing some, either myself or an assistant coach, probably my assistant coach, because I would be focused on the action on the court. Having some conversation to see if we could do some resolution or not. Otherwise, I might sit them down for the whole duration of that set. Is that the right terminology?
Yeah. Well, and Mark, how do you, as a coach, how do you prevent an athlete like me as an outside or what to behave or get that mindset that I am the best on the team, that I should, where does that come from and how can that be addressed?
Well, I think that I at the risk of repeating things, if you don't identify it at the beginning of your season, it's going to be hard to implement it in the middle of your season or at the end, right? So it needs to become embedded in the fabric of your program and of your team. The presentation that I've been doing most for the Badger region is called My Coach Plays Faves, How to Become One. And it focuses on being faithful to your teammates and your program, being accountable personally and as a member of a team, being versatile, which focuses on accepting and embracing the role that you have and becoming the best in that role while you continue to work for the role that you want. And then being enthusiastic, and that's all about that positive mindset. And so whether you use the fave language or whether you have your own language that you've created at your club level, that dynamic piece really is something that you should try and work in situationally, or you can work in situationally even within your program structure, right? You do situational work I remember as a basketball coach, we did situation where you're down by 4 points with 30 seconds left and you have the ball and we had the clock running and we had noise and we had things, right? Then we practiced that kind of stuff. You might need to set up scenarios where you have dynamic issues. And those could be, you know, pre-scripted, or you could just talk to a couple kids and have them do something, you know, incognito, and then see what kind of responses happen from around the team, and then have dialogue and conversation around that. Again, I know a concern is I can't be spending 10 minutes of my hour-and-a-half practice doing this because we need to be doing this. What's worse, having two kids that can't function together that you're counting on as part of an overall unit and you're trying to deal with it in a high pressure situation, or taking a couple minutes out and working on how you can intersperse it throughout your practice sessions and work on those pieces that you value and are important. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I love that. I think that just encompasses a lot of where we see some issues, is that the expectations weren't laid out or communicated frequently enough throughout the year. I mean, we deal with various levels of things, parents, athletes, coaches, officials that come to us with problem. And we always just say, were these expectations laid out at the beginning of the year? Was this communicated by a coach or a club director at the beginning of the year as these are our policies and procedures when it comes to this? And I think that, you know, just like you have goals of we want to win X amount of matches or win this tournament or finish in the gold bracket, we have to have kind of expectations and goals as humans who are, you know, young student athletes who are growing in this sport, right? Because we don't, there's some athletes who don't get a lot of playing time, but they make contributions in other ways, and they should be, you know, respected and valued for whatever commitments and stuff that they're doing too. So I see that as a huge piece, like 10 minutes of an hour-and-a-half practice, or you work maybe, you know, a lot of the constraints of club volleyball is you got a 2-hour practice, but maybe you stick around after. You're not using the court, but you can use an open space in the gym to have these, you know, scenarios and stuff like that. So all within the realm of possibility, right?
if I could add, so I don't forget, as important as it is to teach the concepts and to revisit them, it's equally important to celebrate them. And so when you finish, you know, a tournament, or when you whatever it is, whether it's a tournament or whether you finish a practice, you take a couple minutes and you revisit what the key pillars or the character traits are that are in your language, and say, okay, so where did we see examples of this today? It's as simple as that question. And so for the teams that I coached, our 3 pillars were we were going to value our teammates, positively influence our peers, and respect our sport. So every day, whether it was for 30 seconds or 3 minutes, we were at least acknowledging one of those pillars and finding examples of what it looks like so it was recognizable. And then when you have to have that tough conversation with kids that aren't doing what they should be doing, hey, how are you showing value to your teammates in this situation? Not just a teammate that you're squawking and fighting with, but the rest of the team that's suffering as a result of it, right? And so those are great conversations to have, and they don't take all that long if you do the front end work.